Good morning, class. Today we're going to start a new topic. This is a supplementary reader, and the title of the supplementary reader is The Aged Mother, written by Matsu Basho. Clear? Yes, now let's get into the lesson. So, class, before going into the lesson, now I've given an author introduction. Just listen carefully while I'm reading. So, there is a note given about the author Matsu Basho. Okay, so listen carefully. Matsu Basho, 1644 to 1694, is one of the most famous poets of Japan. In Japan, many of his poems are seen on monuments and traditional sites. Basho was introduced to poetry at a young age and he quickly became well known throughout Japan. He made a living as a teacher but later traveled throughout the country to gain inspiration for his writings. So, this short paragraph tells about our author Matsu Basho. Okay, so he began his life as a poet in Japan. Okay, he is the most famous poet of Japan. In Japan, many of his poems were seen in monuments. Monument is nothing but a place or a statue or a pillar that is raised in memory of a person or an event. Okay, or a particular event. Okay. So, in all those places we can find Matsu Basho's poems. Okay. So, and he quickly became well known throughout Japan. So, he became very famous in a short period of time in Japan. He made a living as a teacher but later traveled throughout the country to gain inspiration for his writings. So, he began his career as a teacher. Okay. But later he traveled throughout the country to gain inspiration for his writing. So, he traveled throughout Japan to gain inspiration for his own writings. Okay, generally creators like authors, like poets and story writers, they'll travel a lot and they'll see different kind of people and different kind of places to get inspiration, to gain more inspiration for their new works. Okay, so that's what our poet Matsu Basho have also done in his age. Clear? Yes. Next, we are going to learn the glossary part, that is the hard words and its meanings. So, this is the most important thing you have to learn before getting into the lesson, because if you understand the meaning, then only you can understand the complete story. Clear? Yes. Now, I will explain one by one. Listen carefully. The first word is despotic. Despotic. It's an adjective and the meaning is tyrannical or cruel. Okay, tyrannical or cruel is nothing but he is very harsh and cruel towards people, a person. So it is an adjective. It denotes a person who is very harsh or tyrannical. For example, Hitler. Hitler is very arrogant and he is very he was very cruel to people, right? To a certain group of people. Clear? So like that. The next one is proclamation. Proclamation is a noun and the meaning is an announcement. Okay. So, proclamation is a noun and the meaning is it is an announcement. The next word is barbarous. Barbarous is an adjective. Barbarous is an adjective and the meaning is extremely brutal or mercilessly harsh. Barbarous is nothing but extremely brutal or mercilessly harsh. The next one is abandon. Abandon is a verb and the meaning is to desert or to give up completely, to leave something completely. Okay, so that's the meaning of abandon. The next one is reverence. Reverence is a noun and the meaning is deep respect. If you get a chance to meet any Christian university, in that they'll introduce the father as Reverend Father. So reverend is the meaning of deep respect. Clear? The next one is mandate. Mandate is a noun and the meaning is an official order. An official order. The next one is sumit. Sumit is a noun and the meaning is the topmost point of a hill or mountain. Sumit is nothing but the topmost peak or the tip of a mountain. Clear? Yes. Next one is injunction. Injunction is nothing but it is a noun and the meaning is an order restraining someone from performing an act. So it is an order to restrain someone from performing anything. Okay. The next one is shriveled. Shriveled is an adjective and the meaning is wrinkled and contracted due to old age or due to strain. So, shriveled is nothing but the wrinkles we can find in the skin of old people, old age people, right? So, shriveled is a new word and it is an adjective used to mention the wrinkles due to old age or due to strain. Clear? Yes. And the next one and the final one is gravely. Gravely is an adjective and the meaning is seriously. Understand? Yes. So these are the most important keywords in this story, and you have to know the meaning of all these words to understand the story completely. Clear? Yes. So class, now we are moving into the lesson. Listen carefully while I am teaching. I'll explain line by line, so please follow me. Okay? Yes, let's start. This Japanese folk tale is also known as the story of the aged mother. It highlights that the aged are sharp-witted. It describes the love and affection a son and his mother have for one another. So, basically, this story is a Japanese folk tale. Folk tale in the sense, it is a countryside story. Okay, so in village and all, our grandmother, our grandparents will tell some stories like. So, like that, this story is a Japanese folk tale. Is also known as the story of the aged mother. It highlights that the aged are sharp-witted. It describes the love and affection a son and his mother have on one another, have for one another. So this story talks about two things. One is the aged are sharp-witted. Sharp-witted in the sense, witted in the sense they are more clever and humorous. Okay, so that's what they are trying to say in this lesson. And the second one is, it describes the love and affection a son and his mother have for one another. Okay, so it describes about the love that a son and mother that have on both. Clear? Yes. Now let's move on to the story. Listen carefully. Long ago, there lived at the foot of the mountain a poor farmer and his aged widowed mother. They owned a bit of land which supplied them with food, and they were humble, peaceful, and happy. So the story begins with the introduction of two characters. Who are they? A poor farmer and his aged widowed mother. They both lived at a foot of a mountain. Okay, so they owned a bit of land. From that they gained their food through agriculture. Okay, and they were very humble, peaceful, and happy. Clear? Yes. The country Shining was governed by a despotic leader who, though a warrior, had a great and cowardly shrinking from anything suggestive of failing health and strength. This caused him to send out a cruel proclamation. The entire province was given strict orders to immediately put to death all aged people. Those were barbarous days, and the custom of abandoning old people to die was not uncommon. The poor farmer loved his aged mother with tender reverence, and the order filled his heart with sorrow. But no one even thought twice about obeying the mandate of the governor. So, with many deep and hopeless sighs, the youth prepared for what at that time was considered the kindest mode of death. So, they were living in a place, the country's name is Shining, and it was governed by a despotic leader. They did not mention his name, but his characteristic feature is given there. He is a despotic leader. We know the meaning of despotic. Okay, it is very cruel, tyrannical, or cruel. So that kind of a leader, though he is a warrior, he was very much afraid of things that cause failing health and strength. Okay, so this became a reason for him to send out a cruel proclamation. Proclamation also we have learned the meaning. It is an order. Okay, the entire province was given strict orders to immediately put to death of all old peoples, all aged peoples. So the governor ordered his men to kill all the old people, and he asked all of them to put to death. Okay, so those days were very barbarous days. Barbarous days means it is also a kind of cruelty. Okay, so and they all planned to abandon the old people. Abandoning, we know the meaning. And the poor farmer who loved his mother with tender reverence means respect. Okay, so his heart was filled with sorrow, but no one even thought twice about obeying the mandate of the government. So none of the people of Shining just thought of opposing the order. Instead, they all wanted to obey the order because he was a despotic leader. So, with many deep and hopeless sighs, the youth prepared for what at that time was considered the kindest mode of death. So, they all were getting ready to do what the governor ordered. Okay, so they all planned to abandon all the old people in the country into some place else, and they are ready to abandon their parents. Clear? Yes. So, this is the situation given in this paragraph. Just at sundown, when his day's work was ended, he took a quantity of unwhitened rice, which was the principal food for the poor, and he cooked, dried it, and tied it in a square cloth, which he swung in a bundle around his neck, along with a gourd filled with cool, sweet water. So, the young farmer who doesn't have any other way to go to save his mother, with a hard heart, he decided to obey the order. Just at the sundown here refers to the evening, okay, the sunset. When his day's work was ended, after finishing his work, he took a quantity of unwhitened rice. Unwhitened rice is nothing but unpolished rice, okay. So that is very cheap, and the poor people will have only that kind of rice because it is very cheap in rate. Okay. So he packed a quantity of unwhitened rice with which was the principal food for the poor. Principal food means the most important food. Okay. And he dried it. Okay. And tied it in a square cloth. He tied it in a square cloth, which he swung in a bundle around his neck, along with a gourd filled with cool, sweet water. So, along with the rice, he also took a gourd filled with cool, sweet water. He just tied it and swung in a bundle and his neck, around his neck, along with a gourd filled with the cool, sweet water. Then he lifted his helpless old mother to his back and started on his painful journey up the mountain. So now he's lifting his helpless mother. Helpless means she's very, very old and poor, right? So he lifted his mother on his back and he started his painful journey up the mountain. So just imagine the situation here. His mother, he loves his mother very much, and he has very, very much respect over her. But the government is ordering to kill all the old people in the country. So with a hard heart, he's doing this. He's carrying his old mother and he's starting his painful journey up the mountain. Clear? The road was long and steep. Long in the sense it is very, the distance is very long, and steep in the sense it is very, like, have you ever climbed a mountain? It will be very slanting, right? This thing is it is very slanting. Okay, so that's the meaning of steep. Okay, the narrow road was crossed and recrossed by many paths made by the hunters and woodcutters. So how is the road? The road was crossed and recrossed by many paths made by the hunters and woodcutters. Okay, in some places they lost and confused. In some places they lost the way and confused. Okay, but he gave no heed. Heed in the sense he did not lose his hope. One path or another, it mattered not. On he went, climbing blindly upward, ever upward towards the high bare summit. Summit in the sense tip of the mountain, okay, of what is known as Obatsuyama. Obatsuyama, the mountain of abandoning of the aged. So this word, it is a Japanese name, Obatsuyama, the mountain of the abandoning of the aged. And I'll pronounce it once, Obatsuyama. So that's how you have to pronounce Obatsuyama, and it is a Japanese word, and the meaning is abandoning of the aged. Clear? So this is what given in this paragraph. Have you all understood? Yes. Look at the next paragraph. The eyes of the old mother were not so dim, but that they noted the reckless hastening from one path to another, and her loving heart grew anxious. Her son did not know the mountain's many paths, and his return might be one of the danger. So she stretched forth her hand, and snapping the twigs from bushes as they passed, she quietly dropped a handful every few steps of the way, so that as they climbed, the narrow path behind them was dotted at frequent intervals with tiny piles of twigs. Okay, so now the old mother, see the clever mind of the old mother. Even though her son is carrying her to abandon her, she's having so much love on her son. Okay, so while returning, his son should not get into trouble in finding the right path, right? So for that, what she was doing, she was stretching out her hands and breaking some twigs of the plants, and she has made some bundle of twigs, and on their way she's marking the way just by dropping some handful of twigs all over the place. So it will be very easy for her son, while returning back after abandoning her in the mountain, to find the way. See, this is the heart or the mind of a mother towards her children. Okay, so whatever the situation may be, whatever their children do for them, in return they'll give only love. So that is the pure heart of a mother. Have you all understood? Yes. So what she has planned, she has put some piles of a handful of twigs all over the way, in every few minutes. So by identifying all those piles of twigs, his son can find the right way to get down the hill. So like that she thought, and she did all those things. At last the summit was reached. Weary and heart sick, the youth gently released his burden and silently prepared a place of comfort as his last duty to the loved one. Gathering fallen pine needles, he made a soft cushion and tenderly lifted his old mother onto it. He wrapped her padded coat more closely about the stooping shoulders, and with tearful eyes and an aching heart, he said farewell. See, imagine this situation. It will be very hard, It will be a very painful situation. Even though the young farmer loves his mother very much, he was very much compelled by the government and the governor to abandon his beloved mother in a mountain. Okay. So finally they reached the summit or the top of the mountain, and he finally unburdens. He releases his burden and silently prepares a small place, and he collects some pine needles or pine leaves to make a cushion, to make his mother a comfort place. And he made a place. He tenderly lifted her and placed in the cushion, and he just wrapped her padded coat more closely about the stooping shoulders, and with tearful eyes and an aching heart, he said farewell. So imagine this situation. This is very hard to even imagine. It is a painful situation for a person who loves their mothers. Okay, so I hope everyone loves their mother. For us it will be a very hard situation, right? Whatever the situation may, we should never leave our parents alone. Clear? Yes. So look at the next paragraph. The trembling mother's voice was full of unselfish love as she gave her last injunction. Let not thine eyes be blinded, my son, she said. The mountain road is full of dangers. Look carefully and follow the path which holds the piles of twigs. They will guide you to the familiar path farther down. The son's surprised eyes looked back over the path, then at the poor old shriveled hands, all stretched and soiled by the work of love. His heart broke within, and bowing to the ground, he cried aloud, "Oh, honorable mother, your kindness breaks my heart. I will not leave you. Together we will follow the path of twigs, and together we will die." So, here the mother finally she's she's bidding a farewell to his beloved son, to her beloved son. The trembling mother's voice was full of unselfish love. Unselfish love, in the sense there is no selfishness in that love. Okay, she did not expect anything in return from her son. Clear? So yes, as she gave her the last injunction, you know the meaning of injunction because we have read it already. So listen carefully. These are the words of the poor mother. Let not thine eyes be blinded, my son, she said. The mountain road is full of dangers. Look carefully and follow the path which holds the piles of twigs. They will guide you to the familiar path farther down. So these are the words that tells about what she has done on her way up to the mountain. So she advises her son to follow the path that had the piles of twigs. Okay, so the son's surprised eyes looked back over the path. He just looks back on the path which they came upwards. Okay, so he sees the path and it has all the piles of what? Twigs. The son was very surprised and he sees the shriveled hands all scratched and soiled by their work of love. Okay, his heart broke within, and bowing to the ground, he cried aloud. He bowed. His heart was broken on seeing all those things. The love the mother has towards his son. It broke his heart, and he bowed in front of her and he cried aloud, "Oh, honorable mother, your kindness breaks my heart. I will not leave you." So he says that I will not leave you. Together we will follow the path of twigs, and together we will die. So he says that I will not leave you here. We'll follow the path of the twigs together, and if we are dying, we'll die together. So these are the words said by the poor farmer. Clear? Yes. Once more he shouldered his burden. How light it seemed now, and hastened down the path, through the shadows and the moonlight, to the little hut in the valley. Beneath the kitchen floor was a walled closet for food, which was covered and hidden from view. There the son hid his mother, supplying her with everything she needed, continually watching and fearing she would be discovered. Time passed, and he was beginning to feel safe when again the governor sent forth heralds bearing an unreasonable order. Seemingly as a boast of his power, his demand was that his subjects should present him with a rope of ashes. So now here what happens is the son, the young farmer, just lifts his mother again back from the top of the mountain and brings her back to the hut, to their own home in the valley, by carrying her all the way back. But now the weight doesn't seem very heavy. It seems very light now, because the love he has towards his mother, that makes to feel him very light. Okay, so now they are returning to their way back to their home, and it was in the shadow and the moonlight. Okay, so they returned to their home. In their home, beneath the kitchen floor was a walled closet for food. So in that place he just hid his mother without letting others to see her, because it is very dangerous for her. If others see his mother, it immediately they'll inform to the governor and they'll kill her. Okay, so instead of avoiding all those things, he's just hiding his mother. Okay, so time passed and he was beginning to feel safe when again the governor sent forth heralds bearing an unreasonable order. So now he is sending another order, seemingly as a boast of his power. He is just showing his power. Okay, his demand was that all his subjects should present him with a rope of ashes, a rope made of ashes. So he is demanding all the subjects in the sense all the people of his country. So he is demanding everyone to present him a rope of ashes. Clear? Is that possible? Can we make a rope of ash? It is absolutely impossible, right? So we can't make. But see how cruel this person is, the ruler. The governor is very cruel that people can't do these things. Even nobody can do this. Okay, can we make a rope of ash? We can't, right? So knowing that he is very cunning in that way, he is just imposing the order. Okay, yes. The entire province trembled with dread. The order must be obeyed, yet who in all Shinning could make a rope of ashes? One night, in great distress, the son whispered the news to his hidden mother. Wait, she said. I'll think. On the second day, she told him what to do. Make rope of twisted straws, she said. Then stretch it upon a row of flat stones and burn it on a windless night. He called the people together and did as she said, and when the blaze died down, there upon the stones, with every twist and fiber showing perfectly, lay a rope of ashes. So here see the cleverness, see the how clever the old mother was. So that is shown in this small paragraph. So what they are trying to say is the entire province was trembling in dread. Okay, trembling in the sense they are shivering in dread, means a deadly fear, because the ruler is a cruel one. Okay, so he can do whatever he likes to do. Okay, so that kind of a person. So the order must be obeyed by all in the country, and everyone was very shocked to understand that how we can make a rope of ash. So one night, in a great distress, the son, the farmer, just whispers the story, this story to his mother. Okay. So his mother replied that wait, I will think. Like that she said. On the second day, she gave an idea to her son. Okay. So what she said that she asked him to make a rope of hay. Hay, hay or straw. Straw is nothing but it's a food given to the cattle, like cow and all. Okay. So you can search the meaning in a dictionary. Okay, so she said, make a rope of twisted straws. She said, then stretch it upon a row of flat stones and burn it on a windless night. So like that she said. She asked him to make a rope of straw and asked him to lay it upon a flat rock surface, and she asked him to burn it in a windless night. Okay, so in the same way as his mother said, he did by calling all the people in front of all the people. He just did this thing. Okay, he just burned the rope of straw. After the blaze died, after the fire put off, there upon the stones, with every twist and fiber showing perfectly, lay a rope of ash. Okay. So if we burn a rope of straw in a place where there is no air, or like there is no wind, then immediately what will happen? The whole rope will burn, but the shape will not be damaged. It will be in the same shape. So it will seem like a rope of ash. So that was the idea of the mother that is given to to the farmer. Okay, so in the same way he did it, and it was a successful one. Okay, so that is, so in this place we can understand how clever the old people are. Clear? Yes. The governor was pleased at the wit of the youth and praised greatly, but he demanded to know where he had obtained his wisdom. Alas, alas, cried the farmer, the truth must be told. And with deep bows, he related his story. The governor listened and then meditated in silence. Finally, he lifted his head. Sinning needs more than strength of youth, he said gravely. Ah, that I should have forgotten the well known saying, with the crown of snow there cometh wisdom. That a very hour the cruel law was abolished, and custom drifted into as far as a past that only legends remain. So here what happened in the climax? The governor was pleased of the wit of the youth and praised greatly. So on seeing the clever thought of the youth, the governor was very much pleased. He was surprised to see a youngster to have this kind of intelligence, and he praised him greatly, but he demanded to know where he had obtained his wisdom. So the governor demanded, where did you learn this knowledge? So like that he asked a question to the youngster, and finally the farmer is like revealing the truth. Alas, alas, alas is it is just an interjection. It is like an expression of sadness. Okay, cried the farmer. He's just crying. Okay, the truth must be told. So this is the time to tell the truth. And with deep bows, he related his story. He just told the story. The governor listened and then meditated in silence. Okay, he was initially shocked, but after listening to the story, he just meditated in silence. Finally, he lifted his head. Then he said that sinning needs more than strength of youth. He said gravely. Gravely means very sadly. Okay, that I should have forgotten the well-known saying. What is that? With the crown of snow there cometh wisdom. With the crown of snow, in the sense, what is the meaning? Crown of snow in the sense, what is the color of the snow? White, right? So if you become old, what will be the color of your hair? It will be very white, right? So that's what said in it is like the expression. Okay, with the crown of snow means with the gray hair, with the white hair, there comes wisdom. There comes is old English, come to wisdom. So old people will have more wisdom. So that is the meaning. Okay, that very hour the cruel law was abolished, and the custom drifted into as far a past that only legends remain. So at the very hour means at the immediately he decided to abolish that cruel law, and all the old people were taken back to the country and they lived happily. Okay, so that is the happy ending of this story. So what is the moral of the story? Old people are always brilliant because they have more experience and knowledge comparatively to the youngsters. Clear? So we should always respect them, and we should always give respect. We should always obey the words of the elder people. Clear? Yes. Okay class, I hope you all understood the story. Just read it once again in your home. Just read all the glossaries, all the important words. Just practice it once again. Do the reading practice and just understand the meaning of the story and try to obey the elders. Okay, clear? Yes. See you in the next class. Take care. Bye.